let's create a, I'm going to delete this one. Let's create a new Java project. Okay, so this is STS. I'll call it bank account. Beautiful. Okay, the first thing that we need to do is do what?
Create a package.
Create a package. Very good. So a package, again, is the reverse domain name, right? And it's very, very powerful. And I'll show you guys why in a second when we start importing things. New package and reverse domain name. So I'll call it Coding Dojo. I'll call it bank. Okay. And the first class that I'll create here is the bank account class. Okay. That's the only class that we really need, right? So you guys remember that when you guys did the first assignments, right? You had to do, for example, when you import an array list, when you use an array list, right? You had to say import java.util.arraylist, right? You had to do something like that, right? To use an array list. What does this look like? Like it kind of looks like a reverse domain name or a domain name, right? With the 3 dots separating, right? So what this is saying, it's in the Java package. Inside of the Java package, I have a util package, and inside of the util package, I have an array list class, right? Just like how I have a com package inside I have a Coding Dojo package, inside I have a bank package, and inside I have a bank account class. Everybody follows right now? Okay, stop me if you don't follow. This is like super important. Now, why do we have to do it like this? Well, just imagine. I create this bank account class, and Ron creates his own bank account class. We have different bank account classes. And let's say Jenny doesn't want to create her own bank account class. She wants to use something that someone already made. Now, does she choose mine or does she choose Ron's? Well, it's up to her. But how does she import it? Well, if she wants Ron's, she imports it from Ron's package. If she wants mine, she imports it from my package. Even if the class names are the same. Right? This is called namespacing. A concept called namespacing, which allows you to define your packages so that when someone uses those classes in your packages, it's the exact one that you created. Okay? So when we start importing more classes later on, you have to be very careful because sometimes classes might have the same name, but they're located in different packages. So you have to choose the right one.
How did you get the source?
You get it just by creating a new project. Right click, new Java project. Did you do Java project? 100%? I'll pause the video real quick. So pausing. Okay, so let's get started with the assignment. Okay, so let's go to bank account. Let's just go one by one, right? Practice member variables, instance methods, and get incentives, and static variables and methods. Create a bank account class. Task number 1 done. Task number 2. A class should have the following attributes. What's another name for attributes? Beautiful. Good job, Anna. Okay. A string for account number, a double for checking balance, and a double for savings balance. Beautiful. So by default, I'll make them private. Okay. Private string account number, private double checking balance, private double saving balance. Okay. Next step. Okay, I'm gonna do it a little differently here. So I'm gonna go down here and we create a getter method for the user's checking and a getter method for the user's checking or saving. So there's a shortcut that I could do called, and the shortcut is Command Option S. And you can see when I do Command Option S, I get this generate getters and setters. So everything is done through getters and setters. So usually our member variables or attributes they're usually private. Okay, we rarely make them public unless you're working with data structures or algorithms and things like that. But what we do when we write programs, we say, okay, I'll generate getters and setters, Command Option S. I'll select all and generate. And it generates everything by default, like that. Okay? If you can't do it, you could also go to source, generates getters and setters. Right? But for us, what do we say? I only need the saving and the checking. Right? So, and which one is it? It's the getter. Now I want you guys to think about this, right? As if this was a real bank account application. Why do we only want the getter for the saving and the checking? Why not the setter?
You don't want the account members to be able to set their account balance?
Yeah. It wouldn't be wonderful if I could just go to the ATM and say, okay, let me set my money to $1 million. Right? We don't want it would be wonderful, right? But it doesn't work like that. There's a system, right? Which is the deposit system. Right? So for this case, it's perfect to just have the private and only have the getter. So that the user could see their account balance, but they can't set it. If you want to set your money, you have to go through the system. Right?
Is that what happened with, I read a story like 2 days ago about some teenager woke up and he had like $11.5 million in the bank account because of some glitch in the tech.
I mean, it's all digital, right? It could have some glitch, but that's very rare. I'm not really sure. I didn't read it. Okay? So there we go. Right? We have the getters for the checking and the balance. So let's go here. Create a static member, class member, that has the number of accounts created thus far. So this one is a little different because it's static, right? So this one could be the public or private. It doesn't matter. I'll just make it public. Okay? Public static and number of accounts, and it starts at 0. Okay?
So I have an issue with doing it that way. Because you could just
That's your problem.
Because you could just do capital bank account dot number of accounts plus plus, and then you increase that because it's public.
Oh, that's true. You could do that. Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's right. So what Justin is saying is that whenever I have, like whenever let's say I create another class here, which will have to do like bank tester, right? I could just say bank account dot number of accounts plus plus, which increases the number of accounts, but we don't want this. We don't want this feature, right? We want only to increase the account when an account is created. Does that make sense? So that's a good point. So I'll change this back to private. All right, create a class member that tracks the total amount of, okay, so same thing here, private static int total money and starts at 0. Okay, so that's step 1 and step 2. Create a private method that returns a random 10-digit account number. Okay, so I'm going to create a private method, not a public method, a private method that returns a string, and it's going to be called generate account number. And this method, it's going to generate something like 1, 10, 5, whatever, right? So how can I do that?
Import random.
Okay, first step, import random. So I'm gonna say random r equals to new random, and I'm gonna use the shortcut call that allows me to import all these libraries. Command Shift O, and then imports random for me. Okay, Command Shift O. Now let's go to the random class and kind of look at. Let's see if there's some methods that I could use for random.
Get it.
So next int returns the next pseudo random uniformly distributed int value from this number generate sequence. Okay, whatever. Maybe we want this one. We want return the pseudo random between 0 and the specific value exclusive. So if I want a 10-digit string where each digit could be from 0 to 9, what do I want to write here? Next int, what will be the upper bound? 10, right? Because it's exclusive. So here I'll have a string rand account equals to empty string, right? So I'm gonna write a loop that's gonna run 10 times because I need to add 10 digits to this random count. And inside the loop, I'll get a random number from 0 to 10 and add it to the random count. So for var, not var. Okay, I is less than 10, I plus plus. Okay, let's be fancy here. Plus plus I. I'm kidding. Okay, then r dot next int of 10. Okay, rand account plus equals that, and after that we return rand account, right? I think this should work. So that is this one. In the constructor, call the private method that set each user has a 10-digit random account. So constructor, all it is the name of the method, right? There is no return type. It's a very special one, and what it does is sets the account number to be equal to this generate account function. That's why it's private. I'm only using in the context of this class. And then this dot checking balance equals to 0, and this dot checking saving balance equals to 0. Okay. Let me create the getter for account number. Now let's see if this is working. Let's go to bank tester here, and then public static void main string args. I'm gonna create two banks. Bank account b1 equals to new bank account. B2, and then let's print out B1.get account number. Then B2.get account number, and let's run this. Let's see what that gives us. Hey, that's pretty good. How many possibilities of account numbers do we have? Does anyone know? Besides Justin, because I know you studied math in college. Like you were a physics major, right? You did both, yeah. Does anyone know what would be the probability? So for each digit, how many possible numbers can we have? 10, right? So if the first one is 10, then we multiply by how many possibles do we have for the second one? 10, right? And if it's 10 digits, right? It's 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, and then this twice because there's 10 digits, right? So we multiply 10 by 10.
100.
No. 10 times 10, that's 100, and then times 10, 1,000. That's a 10,000, times 10, 100,000, times 10, 1,000,000, times 10, whatever that is.
It's one with 10 zeros.
It's one with 10. That's right. That's the easier way to do. My bad. Okay. So the probability that we'll have two accounts being the same is very small, right? So, and because when I did this demo before, like a student can ask me, but it's possible that two people could have the same bank account, which in reality, that's a big no-no, right? If I'm creating a real system. So it's like, that's a good point. And then kind of look at the numbers like, yeah, that is possible, but it's very small, but still possible, so you should still be careful, right? Just to note here, kind of things that you could think about when you're creating a system or anything like that, right? Cool. So we've done that, right? But every time we create so the constructor is a special method that runs whenever I create an object. Whenever I say new bank account, it runs the constructor, right? And you notice that the constructor right now does not accept anything. That's why when I run the constructor here, I don't pass anything, right? Sometimes you need to pass it, sometimes you don't. It really depends on the project. Now, every time I create a new one, because this is the method that runs, I want to update number of accounts ++, right? So there we go. Create a getter method. We've done this. Create a method that will allow a user to deposit money into either checking or saving, and be sure to add the total amount scored. So let's do the deposit method. So the deposit method should be a public method, right? That's the way that users access the bank account. So public deposit, and right now, let's just do it does not do anything. It does not return anything, right? And when the user deposits, usually if you go to ATM, you have the choice, right? Checking or balance, right? The buttons. So we'll say, we'll have a string where the user could say type, account type. Okay? Make sense? So first, right, we had to check the account type. Is it the checking balance or saving balance, right? So if account type equals, let's just assume that will be checking. Then I want to do something else, right? Else, I want to do something else, right? Let's assume that they will only put either checking or saving, right? Let's not do any validations or anything like that. Let's just assume the data is coming in clean. Okay, so if it's checking, I want to do something. If it's saving, I want to do something, right? So if it's checking, I want to say what? This dot checking balance plus equals, oh, I forgot to say the amount here. Double amount, right? Plus equals amount. I'm adding the amount to the user's checking balance. And I also want to say total money plus equals amount. Now, how come on line 22 I use this, and on line 23 I just said total money?
23 is static.
Yeah, 23 is static. And what that means, it pertains to the class. So within the class, I could use this variable called total money, right? When I say this checking balance, that means that specific object's checking balance, right? The thing that has been created from the blueprint. Now we could do the same here for the saving balance. And how can we refactor this code a little bit? Do not repeat yourself. You guys see where I'm repeating myself here?
Total money could come outside of it.
Right? The total money could just move down here. Because I had to do this regardless. Cool? Any questions? All right. So that's the deposit. So let's try to deposit some money. So I'm going to say, hey, B2 dot deposit. I'm going to call it checking. And I'm going to say 100, 200, saving 150. And I'm going to say system.out.println b2.checking balance and b2.get saving balance. And let's run this. Does the math make sense? Right? 100 plus 200 is 300. 150 for the saving. What about B1? What's the checking balance of B1? How much money does B1 have? 0. B1 has 0 because when you create the account, we say checking and saving is 0. Right? So B1's checking and balance is 0. B2 checking and balance is 300 and 150. That's the whole point of objects. We say you're going to have these attributes, and then we do things to the objects themselves. Right? Now, the total money pertains to the class. The whole class has the total money. So it's 450 right now, the total money. If B1 deposits money, B1's checking balance increases, but also the total money of the whole class increases. Right? That's how banks work. Right? They get your money, they invest their money, your money, into other things, and they're betting that the interest rate will be fine. Cool. All right, so we're there. Withdraw. Do not allow. Okay, so withdraw money. Very similar to this. Amount, but it will be called withdraw. Right? So on top of checking the account type, we have to do one extra check. What is it?
If this checking balance is greater than or less than of amount error, message.
Yeah. So that's good. If this checking balance is less than the amount, meaning you do not have enough money, right? So I'm going to say, if this checking balance is less than the amount, I will print system.out.println insufficient minerals. No one got it? I was like, damn, you guys didn't get this? Okay, and now just return here. Just end the function. Right? Because I don't need to do anything. And then at the end, do this. Right? Same thing here. For saving balance. Okay, return, and then minus equal. Cool, so this should work, right? Let's imagine that we put an account type and too much money. For example, I'm trying to withdraw 400 from B2. We only have 300. So checking, okay, it goes here. How much do I have in checking balance? I have 300. How much is the amount? 400, right? So 300 minus 400, 300 is less than 400. Insufficient minerals returns. The whole thing ends. I don't do anything, right? Let's say that I do something successfully. Account type, right? Checking. Amount, let's say is 50. So is 300 less than 50? False, right? So this doesn't trigger. We subtract from the checking balance, and then we subtract from the total money. So logically, it looks good. Okay? Yeah, I'm not really sure how to refactor this. I don't think there's a way to refactor this. Because you had to check the checking balance and the saving balance separately. Cool. Create a method to see the total money from the checking and saving. So that's a method that gives you everything, right? So I'm gonna say public public double total money of your account, right? And then this, and then return this the checking balance plus this the saving balance. So if I call B2 the get or total money of your account, it should be 450, right? And it is 450. Any questions so far? You guys are all bank account masters? Okay. And then user should not be able to set attributes. Well, we've done that by making the attributes private. Okay. So that's the bank account. Cool? What?
What was protected? Because privacy and protected. What was it? Protected?
So protected. So were you in my lecture yesterday?
That's the subclass, right? Can access
The subclass could access, right?
sub.
But private cannot. Yeah. So, oh yeah, it's right here. Access modifiers in Java. If you look at this, no, right here. Look at this table. Right, public, everything. Protected, the class, package, subclass, but not the world. Right, private, only the class. Okay. Awesome. All right. So I'll stop the recording.